over the next 2 days, we are going to be diving in and out of different energy concepts. And the 2 days are going to build on one another. So those of you who were here at the beginning, I did share, I know that you are probably busy. We've all got stuff going on at home at the same time as trying to do this work to up-level ourselves and be present. So even if all you can do is listen in, even if you're not on camera or you're not able to do the exercises, at least try to listen in, because if you jump back into a later session or a session tomorrow, we're going to be talking about things that we've talked about today. And I don't want you to be lost or confused or feeling like you're out of your depth. Everything builds on one of the other, next one to the other. Those of you who do have to jump out, we will have the recordings up overnight or by the end of the night tonight, so you can try and tune in and catch up on any of what we've been talking about there as well. So one of the biggest challenges that we face is other people. If you look at everything that's been going on in the world right now, most of the problems we have are one person or one group of people trying to push or force another person or another group of people to think or be or behave or change, and somehow be different. Everybody wants the world to be the way that they see it, the way that they want things to be. And anybody who doesn't agree with what they believe is wrong or ostracized. They scream, they shout, they point the fingers, they blame, they use shame, they use guilt, they use all kinds of things to try to manipulate or control others into being a particular way. Does this resonate with anybody at the moment? Yeah. All of this way of being is what we would talk about as being the old paradigm. We've been trying as a human society for so many years to control other people, and I know the day will come when we realize that that isn't the way to create change, and that's a conversation for another day. The same applies to us, each and every single one of us. If we're going to try and change our relationships, there is absolutely no point. You will be wasting your time and your energy and your effort pushing other people to try and live life in the same way that you do. Screaming and shouting at someone to see what the world in your way, to understand things in your way, is never, ever going to bring you what you want. The only way that we can create change in this world or in our lives is by doing it for ourselves. Whatever it is that we want to see, whatever it is that we want to create, whatever the changes we want, whether it's within us or if we want somebody else to change, we have to do the work for ourselves first. Now, the good news is you already have the tool to be able to do that, because absolutely everything that you have going on in your life, even what's happening with other people, can be addressed when we work on it from an energy perspective. And we have a choice about how we show up in the world, about how we think, how we behave, what we say, what we do. And we have a choice where we spend our time. We can choose to get stuck into the drama. We can choose to let other people suck away our time, our energy and attention with their stories or situations or whatever it is. Or you can choose where you allow your time and energy and attention to go. So if you would love your energy back to yourself, if you'd love to feel more in control of what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and stop allowing other people to suck your time and energy and attention out of your life, the one answer is for you to stand in your power. And as I mentioned at the very beginning of the day, that's the intention for this whole weekend, is to bring back the parts of yourself that may have been given away, where we may have disempowered ourselves in some way, where we may have allowed other people to cross our boundaries or harm us in some way, shape or form, where we've allowed other people's thoughts and beliefs and patterns to influence what we think about ourselves or how we feel or how we act or how we behave. Is this resonating with anyone? Yeah. So very often I meet people, we all meet people who kind of believe that they're like at the mercy of other people around them, that we either have to prioritize other people, or they're trying to escape situations in their relationships, like not actually liking their partner, or feeling like their friends and family don't listen to them. They're ending up in arguments with friends and family, or even those silent arguments, you know, where you're having an argument with somebody but you're just not talking to them about it, and it's just this Mexican standoff where you're like, I'm not talking, and I'm not going to say anything, I'm not going to say anything, and they said this and they said this. Or we end up feeling unsupported, or we sacrifice ourselves, particularly those of us who are parents. You know, we sacrifice ourselves at the detriment, or for our children, but often at detriment to us. Maybe we feel like we've been let down by our parents, or maybe we feel like we're bad parents, and obviously we've got Karen to help us with that later on. But all of it often comes down to a feeling of disconnection. All of those situations, when we're experiencing them in our lives, are a sign that something is out of alignment from an energy perspective. And when you recognize that that is all it is, it once again puts you back in that space of being able to shift it. It puts you back in that space of being able to, I say control, and I don't mean that in a manipulative way. I mean control as in feeling empowered. You are not at the mercy of anybody. You are not at the mercy of anything. It is only what we're thinking, it's only what we're feeling, it's only what we're experiencing, or something that's vibrating in our energy field that is creating that experience. So when we can let go of whatever that thing is that's causing it on an energetic level, you will see the change in the reality. You will see the change in the relationship. You'll see other people change the way they talk to you, or think about you, or say things to you. You might even see somebody taking a step forward and saying those words that you've been longing to hear. You might see them taking action that you would never in a million years dream that they could. And it all comes down to you becoming a master of the energy field, of doing the work in that space. Now, I know those of you who've been with us for, you know, months or years or however long have already seen so many situations where this has happened. Don't be surprised this weekend if you are doing work on an ex and all of a sudden they start messaging you, or if you're doing work on changing something in your partnership and all of a sudden, you know, your partner comes and brings you a cup of tea or a bunch of flowers or whatever it might be. Don't be surprised. It's just confirmation of the work that you're doing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing these synchronicities happen, because I know that they will, and please do share them with us when they happen as well. So the whole purpose of this, the whole purpose of everything we're doing with the AM, is really about moving the world from the old paradigm. The old paradigm is a perspective or concept or way of life based in fear. It's based in controlling other people. It's based in manipulation. It's based in a desire to have one up on other people. It's a need to control or to gain our power or gain our respect in our self-respect in any situation by taking it from somebody else. Does this make sense? Doesn't make sense. I can see some people saying it's not making sense. Is it making sense? So think about the media. Let's have there a perfect example. Every single story that you see in the media, and we're doing work on this morning, every single story you see in the media is pointing the finger at somebody, making someone to blame, making somebody wrong, making someone else out to be the person that created that situation. Does that make sense? Nobody ever takes responsibility. When do you ever see anyone in the media put their hand up? When do you ever see, and I am setting the intention that these amazing politicians that will stand there and say, do you know what, I screwed up. I screwed up. This is what went wrong. I made a wrong decision. So the old paradigm is based on pushing away. It's like, it wasn't me. I'm placing blame. It was you. You're at fault. You're disempowered. I need to be better than you. The new paradigm is based in love. Does that make sense? Is this making sense? I'm looking at you, Mina, because I could see it. Yeah, you with me now? Cool. And it's such an important, it's such an important concept, because we've been living in the old paradigm for a very long time. And I don't know if anyone's taken a look around recently, but it doesn't work. It doesn't work. The new paradigm is based in love. The new paradigm is based in the reversing, Laurie, if you can hear the beeping outside, sorry. The new paradigm is based in each and every person being fully in their power, communicating from a place of love, getting their power from inside them rather than needing to take it from anyone or anything else outside. When you're in your power, no one and no thing, nothing can touch you. And it's almost like, for those of you who are new, I often describe this as, you know, those superheroes on a movie. You've got this amazing energetic force field all the way around you. And when you're in your power, no matter what somebody says at you, it literally bounces off the outside of your force field. Nobody can knock you over or push you down, because you are literally this pillar of strength. It doesn't mean that you don't get wobbled. It doesn't mean that you don't have bad days. It doesn't mean that you don't have days where you get upset or pissed off. Oh, sorry. Okay. For those of you who are new, I do swear. I apologize in advance for any swear words that come out. However, let it go, because sometimes it's the only word that can be used to describe it. So sometimes you do get in those spaces, but the purpose of being in your power is that you know that you've got a way to bring that back, to put yourself back in that space. And that's what EAM is for. So when you're in your power, life just gets easy. Your emotions don't get pulled around by other people. You stand like just knowing who you are. You can make decisions for yourself. You can put yourself first without being selfish, without feeling guilty. You know in your heart what's right for you. You never feel like you're having to wait for somebody else. You can clearly communicate even those difficult conversations with people that you love from a place of love. And the magical thing is, when you're coming from your place of power, people will hear you. They will actually hear what you are saying, because they will feel the frequency of the vibration of your words. Most often, the miscommunication in conversations comes when someone's like, I really, really love you. And all you can actually feel in their vibration is the hate or the fake smile on their face, when you know that inside there's something else really going on, but they're not being truthful with you. Has anyone experienced that? Someone says one thing, but their vibration is saying something completely different. This is where the miscommunication in relationships comes from. And then you don't listen to what the person is saying, because you're going, I know you're actually lying to me. Don't lie to me. And they're like, I'm not lying to you. You're like, don't lie to me. I can feel it. But you can't often put your finger on it. But when you've done the energy work on yourself, when you've cleared your energy about that situation or that person or that relationship, and then communicate, even if the words that you're saying are uncomfortable or might not be what people want to hear, or they're not the usual way that you would communicate with somebody, when you've done the work on yourself and you actually share what you want to say, it comes from a place of love, because you've released the resistance in your vibration. And it means that they're not going to push against what you're saying. What you say will land with them, and they will be able to receive it. They might not like it, but they will be able to receive it. And that's the first part of the conversation. So just for imagine, you can write this down on a piece of paper before I carry on chatting. Imagine if you could let go of all of the habitual patterns. What you wrote down 3 relationships that you wanted to change. What would that change actually look like for you? I'm just going to give you a minute to do that whilst I have a quick glass of water. What would that change in your relationship look like with your partner, or with your children, or with your parents? What will that change look like when you are standing in your power and they're able to hear you, see you, feel you, understand what you want to say, and be able to communicate back from a place of love. So what's that going to look like? Just write that in your book. Now, again, I do get a little bit geeky with things like this, and the thing I love about EAM is that we're able to talk about energy from both the scientific perspective and from a spiritual perspective. There has been so much research over the last 40, 50 years into the world of electromagnetic energy, and particularly our electromagnetic energy field. And science is now able to show many of the things that we've been talking about in the world of spirituality for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So for those people who are always really skeptical about this sort of stuff, everything we're talking about from a spiritual perspective can often be described from a scientific perspective as well. And they're actually able to show this energetic connection from a vibrational perspective between two people. When you're having a conversation with someone, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, the frequency of your vibration can be tracked and measured in the other person, even if you're not in the same room. Ooh. So when you're thinking about people, when you're talking about people, when people are thinking about you, when people are talking about you, the vibration of what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're saying travels far beyond the four walls that you're in. So don't think that those things that you're saying aren't being heard, okay? Everyone's like, shit, it's being heard, it's being felt, it's being received on a vibrational level. And I really want to talk to you about that from an energy perspective quickly now. So relationships are so important to us as individuals. And from a tiny, tiny, tiny baby, we rely on other people to take care of us. We are literally helpless until the first, few formative years of our lives. We rely on other people to be there, to teach us how to walk or feed us or change our bums or whatever it is, and to teach us about life. And so what we learn about relationships comes from the people around us. We are giant sponges up until the age of 7 or 8, and actually far beyond that. We learn from our environment. We learn from the other people around us, particularly our parents or brothers and sisters or teachers or caregivers. And it's one of the reasons why love can, and I say love can hurt so much, is because we have this weird kind of mishmash interaction of love being connected to survival, essentially. As a baby, if your lover, your caregiver, has left you in the room, and this is just an example, has left you in the room and you've been screaming and crying because you're desperate for whatever, you just want a cuddle, and they've not come or they've not heard you, whatever's come up, what kind of connections do you think that might make? My love has been withdrawn, or my love has been withdrawn from me. Does this make sense? So from a very tiny age, we've got all of these different lessons and all of these different understandings, and we're making up our own understanding of that situation from what we experience. And that continues throughout our life. Our friends, our family, our partners, our brothers and sisters, we're making up this really complex and complicated story of love. And many times love may not have been shown to us in the way that pure love really is. So we might call something love, and actually it's a million miles away from love, or it was their version of love that we've learnt from them, but it wasn't necessarily love. I feel like I'm just saying love a lot, but I'm hoping this is making sense. Everyone with me? I can see some smiley faces. So there are lots of different things for us to take a look at. Now, let me just pop this up on my screen actually for those of you who are new. we go. Now, these are, I want to just introduce you to 2 or 3 really important things that are key to understand, because they relate to the work that we're doing all of this weekend. Our aura, from an energy perspective, when we look at our energy system, our aura is a recording device. So everything you have ever felt, thought, experienced, believed, every emotion that you've ever had, every conversation you've ever had, is held somewhere in your energy. Every word someone has said to you is held somewhere in your energy. It might become a belief, it might become a pattern, but our aura is recording everything you've ever experienced. Now, our aura is a 2-way communication system. Not only is it storing everything, but everything you experience in your life right now is coming back to you through the layers of your aura. Now, if everything you've ever experienced is held somewhere in your aura, if you've had not such positive experiences in your past, perhaps where you've been taught that you're not worthy, where you're not good enough, you're not lovable, people will hurt you, people are only out to get you, any number of beliefs that we're going to explore a lot of over the next 2 days. What that means is every single situation that you then see in your life, when you meet somebody else, you are looking at them through the layers and through the lenses of your previous experience. Is this making sense? Can I have some nods? So how do we address that? Because I know for myself, and I'm pretty sure everybody here, there are probably some experiences in your previous relationships that weren't as great as you'd like them to be, and you don't want them to be impacting the rest of your relationships or the rest of your life moving forward. This is the beauty of EAM. So the work that we're doing is literally removing, we call them resistances or reversals, energy forms that might be held in your aura that are telling a counterproductive story. We want to release those beliefs, we want to release those emotions, we want to release anything in your energy that isn't a vibrational match to the relationship or communication that you're asking for. And that's what EAM can help you to do on every level, not just relationships, physical health, work, money, partnerships, all kinds of things. Whatever it is, it's all recorded somewhere in your energy, and EAM helps you to change that. Is everyone with me so far? Can I have some noddy nods, nods, nods? So your energy field is this beautiful, powerful vortex that is all the way around you. And your connection to other people is your energy field connecting to their energy field. The unspoken words, the things that they're experiencing, the things that they've said, the things that have happened in their past. So between you and that other person, in whatever that relationship is, you are both seeing life from your own perspective. And that perspective is the previous relationships, the previous experiences, the things that you already have held in your energy system. So can you see, just from that one concept, why our relationships might be kind of challenging? Because everybody's coming into this situation with their past experiences. When you're having that conversation, no matter how much you scream and shout at them, they aren't going to hear you, because they're currently inside their ball or their vortex with all of the stuff that they've experienced, and they can only see what they can see from their side of the world. Now, when you do the work on yourself and shift it from your energy, you're actually able to change the way in which you can communicate with other people. So imagine this is you, and this is the other person. Oh, someone scribbled on my thingy. Imagine this is you. You're looking particularly shapely today, looking good. And this applies to the men as well, obviously. And then over here is the other person. So between the two of you, there are often these energy balls in the way. Those are the resistances or the reversals that are happening in the energy space. And what we want to do is to clear those so that the communication can flow easily. Is that a helpful representation for everyone? That's what we need to do in all of our relationships. Now, particularly around energy balls, this is I'm just giving you a picture here. Every thought you think, I did just touch on this a second ago, every thought you think, every word you say, every emotion you feel is sent out into the energy field. So when you are talking about somebody, whether they're in front of you and you're screaming and shouting at each other in one another's faces, what do you think happens to that energy? Where's it going to go? It's getting sent into your energy field. So when you've had that row or that argument with someone and they've screamed and shouted at you and you've basically received a wave of negative energy, that gets recorded in your energy. In the same way, that is getting sent to that other person. Even when they're not with you, like I just said, it's getting sent through the airwaves and it is somewhere in that energetic space. And this is what creates this dynamic between you and other people, that even though you haven't necessarily had an argument, when they've been thinking stuff about you, when you've been saying stuff about them, there is this resistance somewhere in the world that is felt, even though you can't put words to what it is. Who's suddenly thinking, oh shit? I might have some words that I just need to squeeze back in my mouth because I wish I hadn't said them somewhere along the way. Okay, so the good news is you can still clear them. This is why I want you to know this, because it puts you back in a place of going, okay, I know I need to clear this up. I understand now why things might be a little bit crap, because I'm projecting much situation as they are. Every time you talk to your friend about blah, 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 they said this and they did that and they didn't do this and they didn't do that, you are putting more energy into that situation. And every time they're talking about you or thinking about you or talking about you to everybody else, they are also putting more energy into this situation too. So that's just a useful one to bear in mind, a very useful one to bear in mind. Now, how are we doing for time? Okay, we are going to go into we're going to go into an exercise now, a little bit longer this morning than we would like to. So the first thing I want to introduce you to, and I know for some of you who are familiar with EAM, you will have seen us talk about this before, and the reason we're coming back to it again is because it's a really important concept. So let's just pop this back up. So within EAM, we talk about these 3 different archetypes, and we're going to be working on that this morning and the session before lunch. So don't worry if you don't complete this exercise now, we've got much more time in the next session for you to do more of this work as well. So we talk about these being the pusher, the puller and the protector, and you have all met these archetypes and you have all been these archetypes at some point as well. We do this all the time. Everything in mainstream media, every soap, every film, every conversation is designed around this construct. So let me talk to you about the puller energy. Does anyone, some of you will know this before. The puller energy is that person who is in the conversation or situation who's in that poor me mode. So write this down. You could draw the triangle on your piece of paper if you want to. The puller energy is the poor me. They are the person who will say, I can't do this. My life's so bad. This is going wrong for me. I am disempowered. Somebody else did this to me. I'm not at fault. They said this, they did that. I am unable to do this. Does anybody recognize that person at all? Anyone been it? We all do it, so it's okay, put your hand up. This is, when you think about the energy, I can hear someone's unmuted, Rebecca, if you could just find her and mute them, please. When you think about the energy of this archetype, this is I always make the sound that's like, they are the people who will drain your energy. So what we're talking about here is from an energy perspective. They're obviously not doing it intentionally, but has anyone met that person who literally lives in that energy state all the time? Like all the time. And whenever you're near them, like you can almost feel that they're coming round. I think they remind me of, you know, in The Little Mermaid, Ursula, you know, the black octopus in The Little Mermaid, you know, the old lady. That's that kind of energy. There's like this heaviness that tends to come with them. And all that is that their energy field has collapsed in. They are literally like a dark hole. If you imagine a black hole out in space, they are sucking energy and light from wherever they can because they have forgotten their own sense of self and source. So I'm not finger pointing, we're not being mean. I'm just trying to describe to you from an energy perspective what it is. Now, the beautiful thing is, obviously, we can do the energy work on that, which is great. So everyone got the puller energy? We've all been there, we all do it, and the purpose of this is to step out. Then, in order for there to be a puller, somebody who's the, it's not me, poor me energy, there has to be someone that we call the pusher. So the pusher energy is the person who's like in your face. They're the one who is angry. They're the one who will tell you what you've done wrong, why you're in the wrong. They will push everything on you. They're not at fault. They will be ramming it down your throat as much as possible, or down somebody's throat. They'll be pushing everything away from them. It's not me, it was them. There will often be anger and frustration and finger pointing and blaming all coming at you. Anyone ever experienced that energy? And sometimes it's obvious, and sometimes the annoying ones when they're really subtle, and you're like, they're like, oh no, I haven't done that. You're like, you just did it. Don't tell me you didn't, I felt it. So then you've got the pusher energy. They're the ones that are pushing everything away, taking no responsibility. So it's like, you see their hands up, whoop, not me, it was you. Then we have the protector. Now the protectors are my favorite because they are, the way I always describe a protector is like this. So this is the sound I want you to remember with a protector. They're the ones riding in on a white horse, okay? And if we were at an event, I would be galloping around. I love the protector because they are the ones who will be there to step in, and they will try to resolve what's going on in the life for that puller. They're the people who are like, I'll save the day, I'll sort it out, it's all down to me, nobody else can resolve this. Oh, woe is me, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. Nobody else can do it in the way that I can. I'm the only person that can do this. Anyone resonate with that one? Anyone know that they've been that one at some point? We've all done it, and it comes in many ways, it comes from a place of love because we want to help and resolve things for people, but the darker side, or the underside of it, is that it comes with unspoken agreements. I do this for you, and you have to be indebted to me and grateful to me that I have done this. And if at any point you are not showing your appreciation, woe betide you. If you've done something, if that person's done something for you and you haven't acknowledged them, they will be the person behind your back. Does anyone know the Catherine Tate sketch? You know, the old lady. What a fucking liberty. That one. Does everyone know that one? You know the one? That's this person. I did this, da 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 da, and they won't say it to you. They'll tell everybody else, or they will throw it back in your face at some point in the middle of an argument. I did that for you. Why are you not appreciating it? Everyone recognise that? So we've all got an understanding of those three. Sorry for the swear words, but it's the only way to describe it. And I love that Catherine Tate sketch. So the way to step out of it, as you will see in the middle of the circle, middle of the triangle is the circle, is to be in your power. The way to step out of the drama, to not get involved in any of those conversations, First of all, we have to do the work on ourselves, because all of us have all of those character traits. Sorry, we all have them. And the work to do is to release them from your energy so that you're not getting dragged into the drama when you're in a conversation. This is one of the first and most exciting ways to change the dynamics in your relationships, because it really messes with people's heads. And I mean that in a nice way. When you stop interacting and engaging in the conversation in this way, because you'll stop yourself and you'll be like, no, okay, take a breath. I'm not going to go there. Okay, I'm choosing not to engage in this conversation or whatever. It really messes with people's minds in a nice way, because they don't know how to deal with it. And it actually makes them stop in their tracks as well and think differently. And often what you'll hear, which we're going to do some work on this afternoon, who's experienced this already, is you've gone on a journey to changing your life. People are like, God, you've changed. You're so different. Like, who do you think you are now? And it's like, yeah, I'm just not getting involved in the drama anymore. I've got other things to be getting on with. So this is about coming from a place of power, which means doing the work on yourself before you respond, because it's really easy for us to slip into those moments where you're like, and we all do it. We all still have those days. Of course we do. And when you do, stop yourself, recognize what you're doing, do the energy work on what's coming up, because it will always be about something that's resonated in your energy. Remember, we talked about everything that's held in your aura. It will always be something to do with that every single time. And so when you know that it's something about you, where they've pushed your button first, you can let that go. And that means that they can no longer detonate your buttons whenever they say something, and it will literally just wash over the top of you, and you will smile and you'll send them love, and you won't get involved in the conversation. So being in your power is where you want to be. And that is what being in alignment does. It allows you to stop getting knocked from every angle by what other people are thinking, saying, and doing. All with me? So in your workbooks on page 5, you should all have your workbook. Someone is going to lovingly post a link to the workbook in the chat for those of you who didn't download your workbooks before. You need to have this workbook ready, because you're going to need to do the work on this. So in your workbook, we've given a very short list. There's much more to this than we've shared today, but we've given a very short list of the beliefs, common beliefs. I think it's the beliefs or the patterns, I can't remember without looking at the workbook, but we've given you a very short list of each of these 3. What I want you to do is to ask your sway which one of these 3 you need to work on today. You can go back and do the work on the rest of them later. Don't worry about completing all of it now. So just ask your sway, first of all, do I need to release the energy of being a pusher, puller, or protector? So whichever one that is, then find the series of beliefs that we've put down, or patterns that we've put down for you, and then you can work through those individually. So the way that we work using EAM, the way that you will work on those beliefs, is by using your sway to define the number of times you have thought it or felt it, or if it's a pattern, it's the number of times you've repeated it. This is all described in the worksheet, but I'm just explaining it for you here before you go into the breakout groups. So those of you, we're just going to make sure that we're going to go into breakout groups in a minute. So I just want to make sure everyone's got their names up properly and we are ready to press the breakout group button. So in your breakout groups, you're going to be in there doing the work. The mentor will be there. You'll be able to post questions in the chat if you're unsure, and you'll be able to unmute yourself and ask the mentor any questions where you're stuck. But what we're working on now is releasing the patterns for whichever one of those 3 archetypes you need to focus on. Does everybody understand the exercise? Yeah. So which one of those 3? Am I the pusher? Which one do I need to work on? The pusher, the puller, or protector? Depending which one it is, there's a series of beliefs or patterns there for you to work on. How many times have I thought it, or how many times have I repeated that? And we've given you some suggested step 5 statements to do as well. So we want to release ourselves from being in that space, because it means that then the rest of the work we're doing this weekend will start to be able to see more objectively, rather than being in that victim space or being in that pusher space. We're going to start to be able to understand other concepts or other perspectives as we do the rest of the work. All with me? I'm really excited. It's time to do some EAM. It really is. So this is going to be a slightly, where are we at? We're going to do 20 minutes on this, and then we're going to go, because I want to bring us back around on time. So it's just taken us a little bit longer with the little technical hitch that we've had with the breakout rooms. So we're going to do 20 minutes on this in your group. Just don't worry about doing the feedback. We're going to do a share back at the end of the next session, because the next session was going to be much longer. You'll have time to do some more work on this in the next session as well. But I want to get everyone back to break, and then we'll come back in and introduce the second part of this after. So 20 minutes now in your breakout groups. Work on releasing some of these beliefs or patterns that are coming up. And we will see you back here in a little while. Have fun. Have fun.